Welcome to We Are the People. This is Jacob Milton. I'd like to invite each and every one of the viewer who is watching my show every single week. Every Thursday, what I do within my professional work, I meet some important people. And whenever I meet them, I realize that their information, their quality, their qualification can become asset of normal people like you and me. Sometimes those people they're busy professionally. As a human being, sometimes when I ask them to share their expertise with us, which is beneficial to the life of other human beings, they're really happy to share their time, share their views, share their expertise for the betterment of you and me. Today I have two gentlemen with me at the show. One of them are an attorney, a legal practitioner, and he is working tirelessly over a decade for the benefit of the people like you and me. And I have another individual. He's a certified public accountant. He's like a guy next door who is always try to do something good for you and some other people like me. On my right hand, I have a gentleman who happened to be an attorney, and I know him very closely. He's one of the very effective attorney I know for a while. He is no other than attorney David Korngold. David, welcome to the show.
Such a pleasure.
And on my left hand, he is one of the gentlemen I'm really proud and I'm really happy to know him. He is no other than certified public accountant, Mr. Kalianna Lakhshmannan. Dada, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
David, today's subject is no different than other subjects sometimes when we are talking about professional service in a community. You know, some people, especially people, those who are making a little bit of money, whenever they need legal help, whenever they need help with their accounting and finance and taxes, they tend to look for someone who is less expensive. They ended up with people who has no experience or with a very little experience. They are saying, oh, I can do your lawsuit, I can make you a draft, and then you can go to the court and file those paperwork as pro se. Now the guy who is going there, a consumer, has no idea what pro se means. And he has no idea what's the paperwork. The guy, so-called paralegal, or I can call them mohori, they're making those paperwork and giving it to them. How safe these consumers when they go to a people who is offering those type of service?
So that's a very terrific question, and it's a very important issue. Safety, the problem is that they have no safety whatsoever. They're better off doing it on their own without any help than they are going to somebody who's not a licensed professional. Because if they do it on their own without their help, well, then people understand they're representing themselves. They get leeway in the courts. I'm sure they get in other professions as well. In the courts, if somebody represents themselves, they will get leeway. The court will understand that some things they're familiar with, some things they're not. They'll take, under the law, they'll take their answers, their complaints, whatever it is, at face value and not hold them to the standard of an attorney. If somebody else prepares their paperwork, they're under the presumption that it was done professionally, and they're required to fulfill all the elements of the CPL, CPLR, whatever kind of court case it is. And if somebody is doing their work for them and they're not qualified, the chances of it going well are very small.
Okay, and there is things. When they're talking about money-wise fees, they're going to a paralegal to do a lawsuit. They put summons and complaint, and then they put affirmation, right, whatever they put. As a matter of fact, they are not accurate, or they are not doing it 110% because they didn't go to the school. They have no idea what the hell they're writing. Say they are charging $400, $500. Now, they are thinking that, do you know what, this guy, a mohori, he can write something, but if I go to an attorney may charge him $1,000 or $1,500.
Of course.
Now, question, is it worth it spending $1,500 to do the right thing with the right guy? If anything goes wrong, an attorney can go to the court and fight on his behalf, or spend $500 on someone who has no idea what the hell he is doing, do you think it's worth it spending $1,000, $1,500?
I think the point you're getting at is a phrase that we talked about before. It's called penny wise and pound foolish. If you're in a lawsuit, you're looking to recover some money. If you're looking to recover a few $100s, you're not even going to bother spending $500 for a paralegal. So we're talking about somebody who has a substantial amount of money at risk, or even worse, is being sued, is on the receiving end, and so they might be liable for who knows how much money.
Exactly.
They go to a paralegal. So what's going to happen? Well, if they go to a paralegal and the claim is not done properly, when you submit a complaint, you're constrained to the four corners of that document. So if you have a claim that would help you in your case, and clearly we have a lot of money at stake, otherwise you're not going to find yourself in court.
Right.
Well, you can be precluded from raising that claim at a future date because it was not included in the complaint in the first place. And it makes sense that it should be that way, because when you submit a complaint, the other side submits an answer.
Yes, and other side is using an attorney.
Absolutely. So if you submit a complaint that for whatever reason prevents you from raising a claim in the future, and they answer and you did not have that in your complaint, well, you could be precluded from
making any future claim in the future.
Absolutely. You could lose the lawsuit right there and then. And if you have money on the table, it makes no sense really to try to save a few dollars and throw away tens, thousands, hundreds of thousands, who knows how much money you're losing by doing it wrong. So I don't see the point whatsoever in using a paralegal. And if you're talking about something like immigration, or you're talking about something like a criminal complaint, God forbid, it's even worse. Somebody's liberty is at stake.
It's worse.
Much worse.
Mr. Lakhshmannan,
Yes.
even though you are not an attorney, but you are a certified public accountant,
Yes.
an educated guy, you know, you are aware of the legal system. Please do not give me opinion as an accountant, but give an honest opinion as a law-abiding citizen who happens to be an educated guy. If you are in a legal trouble, whether it is criminal, domestic violence, divorce, or some other things, how wise it is for you not to go an attorney and go to someone, a paralegal. What do you think? Is it a smart choice?
No, it's definitely not a smart choice for the simple reason because, see, I have choices, right? So it's not the money that is the constraint. So then I have to choose the best in the profession, not the one which is cheaper. Cheap is not always best.
Exactly.
You know that, right?
Yep. It's a very
why
common
people
thing.
go to Macy's for the simple reason they get good, better goods.
Yep.
So if somebody don't want better good, then they go to their sister company.
Yep.
That's how it is. So best profession costs little more and brings you a lot of benefits.
Okay.
So the not best profession costs little money, but in the end you may receive very less.
There is one thing is this is really between immigrant and American. Say you are a landlord and your tenants happen to be one of the American. You'd like to get rid of the tenant. So when you go to the landlord-tenant court, you can go to one of the Mohori, fill out this form and say, oh, okay, that is enough, you can go to the landlord-tenant court. Whereas the tenant, either they're going to get an attorney or they're going to get a paralegal attorney. What is the best option? Just go to one of those multi-service company and go to the attorney.
No,
how are you going to win against the guy who has an attorney?
Definitely it's not possible, because that's why always seek professional help. Don't go for cheap things, because that's not going to be beneficial for you, as well as not going to be beneficial for any future pleading or case filing or anything, appeal or anything like that. Because when the case gets screwed up, it's difficult to make it all right.
And also, if they goes to the multi-service company and they fill out the application or they prepare some paperwork, they goes to the court, do you think court is going to give them leeway that this guy is not represented by an attorney? What court is going to take that?
So that's a tremendous problem that people face, because of course the multi-service is going to prepare it, and they're going to try to make it look professional on the outside, which means that they're going to have the caption filled out properly, they're going to have the docket number filled out properly, assuming, obviously there are people that don't even know to do that.
Don't even know what the,
But it looks like an attorney prepared it.
Yep.
So the court is going to assume that an attorney prepared it,
Yep.
and they're not going to give them any leeway. And when they show up, pro se, well, they're going to ask where the attorney is. And when problems happen, so then the court is going to come down as hard on them as if they had an attorney, because they were prepared.
David, is there any legal statute that a guy who happens to be probably has GED or has no idea how to prepare his own tax return, but go to the community and put a full-page advertisement and says, do you know what, I'm an accountant, I'd like to file tax return, I'm going to solve all of your problems. When they put all those marketing tools, is there any legal terms that they can use? And if someone says, do you know what, I hired you as my accountant, but you provided me something that ineffective assistance, like where they're standing legally?
Okay. So you've raised a very, very broad issue, and this is a very, very important issue. When somebody puts forth that they're an accountant, certified public accountant, the requirements under the law is that this person is licensed under New York State. And if they are not licensed, the penalties are severe. But the problem is that when you pay somebody your money, okay, if you knew that they were not licensed and used them anyway, well, then you're going to be out your money when they're arrested. When the entire marketing plan comes crashing down, because at the end of the day, sooner or later, they're going to be reported, they're going to be arrested, they're going to be sued by the people that they've messed up their taxes, or that they've messed up their accounting, or that they've embezzled money for. And at the end of the day, when that happens, there's not going to be any recourse. But far worse than that, if somebody puts forth that they're an accountant and they are not, so they're subject to civil suit, treble damages, a lot of different things can happen. And even if somebody does not actually show a loss on paper for something that somebody did, they're still entitled to damages for using the services of a person who put themselves forward. So I would encourage people to actually do an about face. Turn the people that are holding themselves out as accountants. Do everybody a favor, including yourself, but do the entire community a favor. Don't let people prepare taxes who don't know what they're doing, who have no professional credentials, who do not do work to the standards of the community. Help yourself, help the rest of the community out. Okay, turn those people in so that you can actually recover the damages and prevent future damages from happening. And invariably, we've all seen it many, many times. A person puts out hundreds of advertisements, they get a lot of business, a lot of people use them, and then they get arrested, then the whole thing falls down, then everybody has to redo their taxes, they get audited, they get all the claims that they've made previously suddenly are subject to scrutiny, and a lot of people, the last thing they need is the IRS looking back at their taxes the previous years.
Doing the audit.
Right. And let's see if all those lies that were told by this guy, let's say how much money they saved you, and then suddenly you owe back taxes plus interest plus penalties. It's a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous problem that people have, and it always happens. I've seen it happen so many times, but eventually it happens to every single one of them, and you see how fly-by-night sort of organizations, they open up under a different name, in a different location, hire somebody else to open up. It's a terrible, terrible blight on the community that people have to gather together and withstand the temptation to spend less money, because ultimately you're spending more, a lot more.
Dada?
Yes.
A couple of days ago, somebody came from Bangladeshi community who happens to have $179,000 tax.
Right.
And he almost got arrested. Do you know why this thing happened this way? And he just keeps saying the guy who filled out his tax return, he thought he was CPA, but guess what? He was not CPA.
He was not a CPA. Unfortunately, the person who represented him did not know what he was doing. So what he has exactly filed, nobody knows what exactly he has filed. Now it has come to such a stage where it has come to the neck of the person. So he might have saved a little bit of money in terms of fees, but now he is going to end up paying more unless the case is properly resolved.
But
Now-
Dr. Lakhshmannan, don't you think this is unfortunate? The guy is not idiot. He's a smart guy. He's a business owner.
Yeah, you are a business owner. You know what you are doing.
And
so
you
have to-
went to a Mohori,
Yeah.
Mohori multi-service guy who just put a sign that, oh, okay,
Right.
I'm gonna do the tax return. And guess what? Who becomes the victim?
Now, ultimately, the business owner became the victim.
Victim.
That
You are the
by
con-
got his money and he went or he is away. So now you are going to go to the court, going to find out a battle against the law and order now because something was screwed up in the beginning. So had it been filed properly, timely, and all those things, no penalties would have been there, no interest would have been there, everything would have gone smooth, and IRS would not have even touched the tax return.
Mr. Lakhshmannan, I saw a couple of days ago that even those Mohoris, those who are offering multi-service, when they are preparing a tax return, they are charging $50, $60, $100.
Right,
You are a CPA. You are not joking.
right,
You are a professional who's supposed to file tax return.
right.
But I saw that you put advertisement in the newspaper that just for the benefit of the Bangladeshi community, you are going to charge only $35. Why you are taking this
No,
loss?
that's only for the community benefit for the simple reason because there are always people who do not have the affordability.
Okay.
So they are not in a position to get a professional help. In order to help those people, so we have tried to reduce the fees to some nominal extent so that everybody gets covered and gets a proper and appropriate professional service.
So
That is the reason.
that is the reason
That's
that
the
you are
reason
offering
I want to help the community people because sometimes they don't get the right type of help. That's
Okay.
the reason why we came down to that low level of fees. But that's only just for the amount of
So
time.
you are just doing it only
Yeah, it's
because
it's
you
a
wanted
kind
to
of-
help community
yeah,
people.
It's a kind of help to the community people.
The $35 is
Right.
not really
No,
a
that's
matter.
not the really matter thing. But
David,
that's not the really
he's
fee.
a certified public accountant. He should have charged at least $250 to $300
Of course.
for individual tax return. This gentleman sit down in Jackson Heights area offering $35. And now, whereas other folks, those who are not CPA, has no accounting degree, they are charging $70, $80, $100 for individual tax return. And still people think they're going to go to them because I know them. And they don't know them. Like, is it kind of insecurity or people become insane that still they will go spend $70, $80 on someone who is not qualified to do anything, but they're not going to come to a person who is offering them this type of service?
Absolutely. Well, first, I want to applaud you. Thank you very much for helping the community like that. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. As far as, yes, definitely, why people use somebody that they know. It's so difficult to figure out the human
Nature.
mind. Yeah. But at the end of the day, one of the things that you're doing is crusading
Yeah.
against this practice.
This practice.
Because people get pressured. Oh, yeah, use my guy. Use this person. I know him. He's my brother, my friend, my uncle, my cousin, my sister. And everybody says, okay, well, I don't want to insult my friend, my brother, who says to use this guy. He's been using it for 30 years, right?
Yeah.
So it sounds like a good thing. And I'm sure this business person that we were talking about, he must have been in that kind of position. Oh, he's good, he's good. He was told, he came with a recommendation.
David, $179,000. That Mohori made him sign a piece of paper that I am waiving my right to file an appeal or make any types of protest.
Unbelievable. So all I can say is that it's very clear that these people are preying on the unwary. And obviously, if you have a chance to use a CPA for $35,
$35.
I would say you have to, something has to be seriously wrong for somebody not to do that. I recommend everybody run and get their taxes done there so that they can take advantage of his kind generosity, his desire to help the community, but also to have a CPA do something where somebody who doesn't know what they're doing can do. It's unbelievable, and there's no reason in the world why somebody would want to do that.
David, this is a simple question. This is personal conversation between you and me.
Mm-hmm.
You and me, sometimes we talk in a great length.
Sure.
In regards to the foreclosure, in regards to the immigration law, criminal law. Sometimes you compliment me. You say, Jacob, you know way better than some attorneys I know in my lifetime.
Absolutely.
How many times you saw my tendency to do attorney job? What do I do? Even I correct.
Never seen you having a tendency to do an attorney job. As knowledgeable as you are, And I think the community knows how knowledgeable you are, and I personally know how knowledgeable you are. I've never seen you once try to do the job of an attorney.
Do the job.
You always consult me personally or all the other professionals that you know, simply because why would you?
Why would I do that?
Exactly.
I cannot go to the court. David, you can give him one example. Other day, David couldn't come, and there was a client at the office. And that client says, I'd like to retain David Korngold. Now, I could have said, listen, come here, I'm going to do the retainer, I'm the attorney, whatever crap, or multi-service. I could have done that.
Right.
And I says, how can I handle it? And David got stuck in Manhattan. I called David. He said, David, what do you want me to do? Literally, David knows I can handle everything.
Every situation.
But guess what? David told me, Jacob, go to that form, make him sign those, get all those information, and when I'll come Monday or Tuesday, I'll take care of it.
Right.
And when David came,
that's the right thing.
what I did, David, I gave you what?
You gave me the package exactly as
The
was
way you
requested.
asked me.
It was perfect, top to bottom, and that application, I can safely say, is out in the mail today, a few days later.
David, what is the difference? I could have said, oh, I'm doing it. You charge that guy $7,000, $8,000. I could have done the same job with $4,000. Why I says I'm not gonna do it? That's not my job. I cannot do it. I cannot act like an attorney. I could have made a mistake, but you are not. Why I didn't do it?
It boils down to integrity. You have
Here
the
you go.
integrity of the people. You want to help the people. Everything you do, I've known you for a while now. Everything you do is to help the community. No, you spend more time helping the community than anybody I know. And I have to tell you that, yes, you could have done that. If you want to run a business like that, you could put all of them out of business.
All of them, yes.
Yeah.
In 2 seconds, just like
Yeah.
that. Just by yourself.
Yeah.
You could put everybody out of business. But you don't, because of the integrity that you have.
Lots of people come to my office, Dada.
Right.
They says, can you fill out this immigration form? I'm gonna pay them. And do you know what I do? Most of the time I say, do you know I have people, they're gonna fill out your form free. You don't have to pay me a penny.
Right.
But on those forms, I'm not expert. I have an expert whose name is David Korngold.
Right.
Just come over here, talk to
Yeah,
him.
that's the right thing you are doing.
Okay. We are talking about a case sometimes nowadays, you and me sometimes, you are biting your finger that one guy named Sheldon Walker screwed up case years ago.
Yeah.
Now lots of people are saying, a bodega owner, a guy who do not even have high school diploma, they are helping people filing a political asylum. Here we go again. And what they are writing, we have no idea.
I've seen one. I've seen one application. I think I showed it to you. Yes.
Yep.
It's sitting on the desk at the office, and the application. So, I believe, people are crafty. People are smart. They try to convince people to use their services, and they say something along these lines. Okay, let's assume that we're not talking about somebody just says, "I'll fill out the paperwork for you. I'll see you later." Okay, maybe people won't even fall for that. This person was very crafty. What he did was, "I'll fill out the paperwork, but you know that I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to do a good job. But guess what? We'll submit it, and you'll get work authorization. So when they finally deny it, don't worry about it, because you'll have work authorization. You'll make a couple of money. You'll make a couple of bucks before they send you home. Okay?
That's not a solution.
Oh my God, terrible solution. But guess what? Somebody might have fallen for that. Oh yeah, you know what? I'll make a lot of money, as much as I can, then go back to Bangladesh or wherever I came from, and you know what? I'll be fine because I had work authorization for 3 years, 2 years, whatever it is. You know what? I looked at the paper, and it's sad to see that person would not even be entitled to work authorization. I'll tell you exactly why. So this paperwork was filled out, but all the information regarding the asylum case was said to be submitted later. Well, USCIS does not give out work authorizations based on applications submitted without sufficient evidence to demonstrate that they probably or possibly will win the asylum application. They understand that at the end of the day, this is just an attempt to get work authorization temporarily, and they see right through it. And for somebody to charge money, thousands of dollars in this case, to fill it out, just so that they get work authorization, and fail on that, to me is mind-blowing. It's just such a red flag. This person was hoping at least to get something out of it, and they got nothing. All they did was throw away their money.
David, is it legal to put a full-page ad saying we provide this service, we provide this service, we provide this service? How legal it is?
it is illegal for two reasons, at least. One is, what do you mean you provide that service? Are you licensed to provide that service? If you're not licensed, it's illegal for you to try to provide the service, A. B, what qualifications do you have? You don't really provide the service. You just fill out forms and then say that this, for a legal issue, you say, oh, go pro se. So you're not providing any service whatsoever. You're not representing them. You're not helping them. You're not giving them legal advice. And if you are, well, of course, then you're doing something specifically and explicitly illegal, and you can go to jail for that. And the last thing somebody wants is their application, their lawsuit, their documents prepared by somebody who's in jail. How are you going to collect your money when you finally decide to sue this person? How are you going to collect the money when they're sitting in jail?
At the same time, when these people are making those claims, they're really good at marketing tools.
Sure.
They goes face to face, do you know what, give me this case, I'm going to take care of it, I'm going to take care of it. But at the end of the day, I like to look at the consumer. David, can you give your opinion right in front of looking at the camera, and what you think going to these people at the end of the day, who will become the victim?
Well, of course, Jacob's 100% right. The victim is going to be the client who trusted somebody who does not have the ability to provide the services they are claiming they have the ability to provide. And what happens is that these things cannot be prepared by somebody without expertise. Invariably, you're going to lose out, your claims are going to be left by the wayside, and you're going to pay for it later on. They collect your money now, but you pay for it twice. You pay for it when they pay these people the money in the first place, and then you pay for it later on when you lose thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or find that you've been deported or in jail because you did not get the proper advice you needed in the first place.
David, just give me a sec.
Yes.
Dada, lots of people are putting that they are getting a number from the IRS, say getting that certification that he's a tax preparer.
Yes.
Exactly how much they can extend their service when they're saying they're tax preparer?
Generally, what I have seen here is, so they buy a program which is helping them to do the taxes. Okay. But if something goes outside the tax program, say it requires knowledge of that particular tax law, these people will not have the knowledge, they will screw up in that area. So the program does not give solution to each and every aspect of the law, okay, because it's made to work under constraints, and the person who is operating it does not know what the constraints are. You only purchased it for about $1,000, $200, whatever price it is. So just he can prepare certain things based on a W-2, nothing more than that. If something comes outside W-2, what he will do? He don't have the knowledge. So it's always good on the part of the individuals or the business people to go to a professional consultant or professional accountant to do the taxes, because that is the proper way to do it. He knows what exactly you are in need of.
Okay. Also, there is another thing. Those multi-service company, they are coming up with a game. Oh, I'll file your tax return and get you more money. What does that mean?
No, that's always wrong, because you cannot get more money unless you lie something on the tax return. But if you lie something on the tax return, if it is audited, you will end up paying penalties plus this thing plus arrest, because once something lie goes into the tax return, it is considered a criminal offense.
Okay.
So anybody can be arrested for that.
So when people are saying that allow me to file your tax return, I'll get you more money, that is illegal.
That's illegal. You should get only what the law allows. There are certain deductions, there are certain credits given to individuals, businesses, and all those things. So you take advantage of those credits, those refunds which the government is lawfully giving. But if you make something like, okay, I spent $1,000, why not I put about $2,000? Then you are lying on the tax return. That's not correct. So you may end up not getting a tax audit for that $1,000. But what if an audit takes place? Then you will end up paying for that $1,000 which you were hiding, then plus interest and penalties for the number of years. Suppose it is found out 10 years later, they can go back several years behind because you did a fraud on the tax return. Otherwise, the tax law says they can go only up to 4 years or 3 years.
Okay.
But if there is a fraud on the tax return, they can go any number of years.
Okay.
And audit the whole period. So you will end up putting in what you saved penny, now we are going to pay in big numbers, thousands of dollars.
Mr. Lakhshmannan, Mr. Korngold, we'll take a small commercial break. We'll be right back right after our commercial break. Please stay with us. Audience, I'm talking to Attorney David Korngold and Certified Public Accountant Kalianna Lakhshmannan. We are taking a small commercial break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Usually, no one likes the hassle of going to court, dealing with government agencies, or law enforcement. The reality is, we live in a world where all of that is inevitable. Legal Network International LLC has all the legal sources of the 21st century. We are armed with dozens of attorneys, CPAs, and other needed professionals. Here is a word from one of the attorneys at Legal Network International, LLC.
Good day. My name is John DeMaio. I'm an attorney at law. I've been an attorney at law since 1978. I was a national debating champion in college for 2 years. I was graduated with honors with degrees in political science and economics from Iona College. I was also graduated with honors from Western New England University School of Law with honors. I clerked for 2 Supreme Court judges here in Manhattan. I had a national publication in the areas of tax and finance. I've had my own practice for about 20 years, and I've done everything that can be litigated, from small claims court to landlord-tenant to divorce to personal injury to criminal cases, including 4 separate murder trials, all of which I won. It would be my honor to represent you and to serve you through the support network. Legal Network, of which I am a member, is a unique opportunity for members of the Bangladesh and other communities to have first-rate representation through their sponsor, Jacob Milton.
অডিয়েন্স, আমি প্রতি শোয়ের মতো এবারও আপনাদেরকে আমন্ত্রণ জানাবো আমাদের কমিউনিটির পেশাজীবীদের নিয়ে আপনার মন্তব্য শুনব। আমাদের কমিউনিটিতে ফরচুনেটলি অনেক ডেন্টিস্ট রয়েছেন যারা আমাদের কমিউনিটি সেবা করে থাকেন অনেক বছর ধরে। অনেকেই ভালো কাজ করছেন, আমাদের কমিউনিটির অনেক লোকজনদেরকে সাহায্য করছেন। দয়া করে আমাদেরকে লিখুন, আপনার মতামত প্রদান করুন। এই ডেন্টিস্টদের ভিতরে কে সবচেয়ে ভালো ডেন্টিস্ট এবং কেন ভালো? পাশাপাশি এটাও আপনি আমাদেরকে জানান কোন ডেন্টিস্ট সবচেয়ে খারাপ এবং কেন খারাপ। আপনার মতামত আমাদের কমিউনিটি ডেভেলপমেন্টে অনেক সহায়ক হবে। আপনার সুযোগ্য মতামত আমরা যদি সবার সামনে তুলে ধরি, যে প্রশংসা পাওয়ার যোগ্য সে প্রশংসা পাবে এবং যাকে আমরা প্রশংসা করব না সেও সুযোগ পাবে তার সে নিজের সার্ভিসকে আরও ডেভেলপ করার। আমাদেরকে সুযোগ দিন এই কাজটুকু করার, যাতে করে আমরা সবাই উপকৃত হই। ধন্যবাদ। Welcome back to We Are the People. Audience, I'm talking to Attorney David Korngold and Certified Public Accountant Mr. Kalianna Lakhshmannan. Some of the subject, when I talk, I just got a little annoyed. It's really irritated me for one single reason. If I make myself foolish and if I myself make a mockery of my own personality and quality, no one can help me. If someone is taking $100 or $75 or even a $50 to file your tax return, and he's not an CPA. And when you try to go to the court, file a simple lawsuit, small claim, or go to the landlord-tenant case, you're going to one of those mohri who is going to prepare the paperwork, who happens to not to be an attorney. How smart you are. You're walking on the street, claiming that you are a smart guy, community leader, you are helping others, but guess what? You are not helping yourself. Mr. Lakhshmannan, this is a tax season. People are dying to file their tax return and get more money. The concept, I said it, that some people are putting an advertisement in the newspaper says, come allow me to file the tax return, and you says that is completely illegal.
Yes.
What they're lying about? They're spending or they're falsifying the dependent tax?
Generally, they are ending up falsifying the tax return with more expenses or less income. So either way, either way it is not legal. So you have to go by whatever income the person earned and whatever expenses the person put in and whatever deductions the persons are entitled or credits they are entitled legally within the system. We cannot just walk around and make things up or things down in order to get an extra refund, which ultimately going to cost a big chunk of money, plus all those unwanted things like going back several years, auditing the whole period of tax returns, and if there is fraud in even 1 year, they can go back to any number of years.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody told me who happens to be a guy who works for New York State Tax Department. He says when consumer file their tax return, taxpayer, I'm sorry,
Right.
if the guy who is looking at the tax return, whom they call like tax inspector looking at the tax return, if they see that one CPA filed that tax return, 80% of the case they think all are accurate.
Because there is a general conception, because so once a CPA or any legal professional files a tax return, he's a qualified guy, licensed guy, he has the licenses to do the taxes and all those things. So they also know he is a qualified guy and he knows the laws according to the state or federal, whatever it is. So, but if somebody else files, they may look at it or scrutinize it little more because there are possibilities of errors. There are people always make glaring errors. So, for example, they pay the payroll, but there is no payroll tax in the tax return.
Okay.
So it's a glaring error. So it immediately brings attention. Oh, this guy has a payroll, but there is no payroll tax.
Okay.
Company has to pay a part of the payroll taxes. So it is not there. Then just it is a red flag.
Okay.
So that's kind of thing which the people who don't know how to do the taxes, so they will make those kind of mistakes and end up the person who is the consumer ends up paying a price for it.
A tax guy who works for the New York State Tax who told me in a simple conversation that, Jacob, when people are filing tax return and the tax inspector looking at the tax file and see one CPA file the tax return, 80% of the time this says okay, this file is okay, they put it back.
Right.
And there is a statistics that a tax return filed by the CPA is not even going into the statistics. Less than 1% file get audited, the tax file return filed by a CPA.
Yes.
But when a multi-service people file the tax return, they are saying 61% chances that those files would get audited. How true it is?
No, that's true because of the reasons which I told earlier, because there are always certain factors which are linked to each other.
Okay.
So if you fill in one area and forget to fill in the other area, that always a glaring red flag for the tax authorities or for the program to bring it to the attention of the supervisor who is looking out at the tax return. So there is a red flag on this tax return.
Okay.
So it's always better to go by a professional. So you may end up paying little more, but you will have peace of mind.
Yep. So peace of mind means if you have a CPA, at least you are almost certain that when IRS will get your tax return, they're going to say, well, a CPA filed the tax return.
Correct.
I think it's almost okay.
Yeah, unless there is anything omission or big omission or something like that. Otherwise, generally it goes perfectly all right because the professional has done it.
Okay, David, there's a guy came to our office and Mr. Lakhshmannan, he is taking care of it. They're saying sometimes tax inspector and police, does tax people has the authority to arrest people?
The
IRS people?
IRS generally does not arrest people. They usually pass it to the
marshal?
Yes, they pass it to the marshal. They pass it to the Department of Justice, but it's just a different arm of the U.S. government. So I don't see much difference whether a tax professional working for the government arrests somebody personally or whether they have the marshals do it. It's the same thing. You're going to be arrested.
Well, the guy who came to our office, sheriff and tax department commissioner showed up at the store.
Wow.
And they wanted to arrest him. Now, what an attorney can do at that time?
An attorney can do a lot, okay, if they have the right tools. If you've protected yourself, you can do a lot. So if you use a CPA and they prepare your tax return, let's say there's a mistake, you're protected because you used a CPA and the CPA has the ability and the authority and the license to stand behind their tax return.
Yep.
A multi-service does not have that ability. If you have a mistake on your tax return, even if it was an honest mistake, even if you didn't realize it, but it looks like you committed fraud, you're going to be arrested. So you really need to be very, very careful. You need to have that credentials behind you, because if you don't have the credentials behind you, even if you're innocent, you're going to be looked at as guilty.
So you are saying, say, Mr. Lakhshmannan filed my tax return. If there is something seriously wrong, that I can get arrested, still I can walk away with it because one professional filed the tax return and I'm going to say, guess what? Sir, I didn't file the tax return. I have no idea how my accountant handled it.
Absolutely.
So at least they're going to let me go speak to the CPA.
That's an actual defense at law.
Yeah,
If the
you will have an
CPA
advantage because, see, you did not do it yourself. So you took professional help and there is an error in the professional help. So that can be always remediated. It will not be treated as a fraud.
Okay.
Because there will be a chance of mistake getting what is it, pardoned or written off or what it is covered.
Okay.
We can always amend the tax return if there is an error in that.
But if
you
it is a multi-service,
so
you cannot stay behind the
There
multi-service.
is no
yeah,
protection
so
of multi-service.
he cannot protect you for the simple reason because he don't know what he did himself.
Okay. But still these people goes. This question is for you and me,
Yes.
Mr. Lakhshmannan. I think he's going to get confused. Why we immigrant has that tendency, oh, we are going to spend a little bit less money and we are going to get more return. Let's go to the corner bodega store. There is a guy who filed the tax return. Why we have that mentality? By the
I
way?
don't know. We always want to save some money on some things and pay dearly on something. That's what he told, penny wise and pound foolish. That's exactly right. So basically, the immigrant community, maybe only because of the reason, maybe our earnings potentials are less compared to other communities. So maybe we think we want to save something there. That something is not real saving. You could have earned little more and paid the other guy little more. It would have been much more better than saving in that area.
But is it fair to say that when people are thinking, oh, you are Indian, I am Indian, I should go to you. But guess what? Who is pushing me under the bus? You, same Indian, same country's people.
Because see, I am taking advantage of the particular factor that I belong to the same community. It's not right because I need a service which is done by a professional, whether I belong to India or belong to any other country or belong to anything else. So do I get a service, professional service for the fees I pay? So that is the criteria always that should go in. Not the affinity for community or language or whatever it is.
Mr. Lakhshmannan, I have a bad name in the community. People are saying that I don't use service from an attorney from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. I do not accept any service from anybody, those people. There's a reason. David, I know a couple of attorneys. Now, I'm not going to make a comments whether they're good attorneys or bad attorneys. Some of them claim in the newspaper, oh, they're best attorney, immigration attorney, blah, 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 so and so forth. Fortunately, there's 2 or 3 occasions, happens to be I was there at the immigration court. And guess what? Those attorneys, when they goes in the immigration court, and if there is a judge named Ferris, a lady,
yes.
And
very famous judge.
Oh my God. If you go in front, literally our attorneys, those who are from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and talk with a thick accent, They're standing there like an orphan. They cannot even say one full sentence in English. Now, I'm not discriminating. I'm not saying our people are not educated.
Of course.
But they're educated people. They're very good people.
Absolutely. Have the law degree.
Law degree. But my issue is, if my attorney act in front of the judge as an orphan, in what way he can be effective?
It's a problem. Again, never take away from a colleague, a professional. It doesn't make a difference where you're from or how you speak, what language you speak. It's about the job that you do.
Job you do.
Right.
Dada, is it fair, like sometimes I say, I'll give you an example, don't get me wrong, I know sometimes people get me wrong.
Right, right.
If I have an immigration problem, say I have an option. I have attorney David Korngold, and I have another option. I have attorney so and so forth, either Ashok Karmokar or Sheikh Salim. They ask me, Jacob, who the attorney you're gonna pick? I like Sheikh Salim, he's from my country.
Right.
I like Ashok Karmokar, he's from my country, but I'm gonna pick him. Is it really bad that I made that choice?
No, you're the person, you're in need of service, right? You have to pick the right choice. So if you, out of the three people you considered, you feel this guy is, because of my community or my language, I cannot pick him because he's not in a position to stand up and talk, or he's not in a position to represent me clearly, then there is no point in picking that person as compared to another person who is well qualified, who can do perfectly well. Then go and pick that person. That is the right thing.
Mr. Lakhshmannan, if you are in my place, what would you do?
I will also do the same thing, because I will see very pros and cons of hiring this guy, hiring this guy, hiring this guy. So then I will not look at, see, he's community guy, he's language guy, and he's somebody else. So I will only see what are the credentials, so how best they can represent my interest. So I am paying a fee for it, maybe less here, more there, but still I want my interest to be protected. So I will go for the best person in the profession.
Doesn't matter what
It
country
doesn't matter what country he is.
Okay, great. Mr. Lakhshmannan, we are at the end of our time. I'd like to ask you something in regards to the tax return,
Yes.
because you are the CPA.
Yes.
I'd like to look at the camera and give your opinion how seriously a taxpayer should take it when it's come to filing their tax return, who the person they should go to, and what is the danger they are facing when they are going to the wrong people. Please help the community.
So what I would suggest here is, you always choose a professional guy who is licensed and who has got the knowledge and experience in the field. Don't go to a person who represents himself, but he cannot do his own tax return without a program. So that is not going to help you. It may save you a little bit of money, but in the end process, we will end up getting audited for something which is omitted. So that kind of thing should never happen to anybody, because that is a very difficult and terrible thing. So to avoid and make things straighten, always use a professional person, though it may be little costlier in the beginning, but in the long run you will have peace of mind. That's what I want to say to the community and everybody who is listening today.
And Mr. Lakhshmannan, me and David, we are really thankful to you for a reason. You are a CPA. Yes. You're supposed to charge at least $200-300 individual tax return, but you are charging how much?
No, that is 35. What we discussed is only a specific situation to help the community people. Otherwise, my charges are, as you told, it's about a couple of $100.
Couple of $100.
Yes.
But you are doing it $35
just only as a community
people.
Yes.
You like to help Bangladeshi community
Yes,
people.
definitely, no doubt in that.
Okay, David, give a proper advice when people are coming from Bangladesh, coming from India, coming from Pakistan, and they would like to file an asylum application. They goes to one of those mohoris or paralegal. How dangerous it is when they goes to that paralegal service, and why they should look for an attorney like you. Please share your views with the audience directly.
Well, I just wanted to comment. Obviously, Jacob is correct. When you come to this country, you came for a reason. Your life is on the line, because if it wasn't, you'd stay in your country in Bangladesh, which is a beautiful, beautiful place to be. You would have stayed there, but you have a problem, and that's why you find yourself here. And if you have that kind of problem, but you don't take the steps to preserve your rights and to preserve your interests, then you're ending up shooting yourself in the foot. You're not solving the problem that you have. And when your life is at stake, you need to do everything in your power to have a professional take care of business. And the last thing you want is somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, taking control of your life and hurting you in the long run.
Mr. David Korngold, well said. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Mr. Lakhshmannan,
Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you very
Thanks a
much.
lot.
Well said. I'm really happy that you said it, everything I agreed.
Thank you so much.
Audience, I can be controversial. I can be someone is not popular among our community people. But one thing I always do, I try to come up with the right answer. Funny thing, sometimes I don't have the right answer. When I don't have the right answer, what do? I find an attorney, David Korngold. I find another attorney, John DeMaio. I find another attorney called Bruce. I call another attorney, Bruno Beer. I find another attorney, David Isaacson. How many attorneys you want me to name? Do you know why I find them? They have the answer. I don't. I'm an educated guy. I cannot say I have PhD, but I'm an educated guy compared to other people. I'm informed. I cannot say I'm well informed. I am scared to offer any legal advice. Do you know why? Because I'm not the right guy to offer legal advice. If I do, that is illegal. If I take a single penny out of your pocket, that is illegal. You can come to my office. I can help you to fill out a form. You don't have to pay me a penny. But guess what? If you ask me to do your asylum case, I'm sorry. Perhaps a bodega owner or a mohuri have the expertise to do your asylum case. I don't. If you come to my office, trust me, I will have to find an attorney named David Korngold or Bruno Beer or someone else, an attorney. I provide service through third party. Do you know why I says that? I'm not an attorney. When it's come to file a tax return, I'm sorry, I don't do it doesn't necessarily mean I cannot do it. I know how to do it. But am I going to do it? Hell no. Do you know why? I'm not sure. I may put the wrong number. That may jeopardize your life with that damn tax return. Do you know why? There will be a time at the immigration court, they may say, what is your tax return? And I screwed up your tax return. As a multi-service Maori, I cannot take responsibility. Rather, I'll find a certified public accountant like Kalianna Lakhshmannan. Do you know why? He can go to the immigration court and make them understand why he filed the tax return that way, because he is professional. That's all I can say, and that's all we have for today. You are Bangladeshi, you are Indian, you are American. I love you all. You are not my enemy, neither I am your enemy. Let's be smart. Can we be smart? Sure, it's a tax season. Lots of people are coming from different countries. They need legal help. Please, do not go to those offices. They claim they do everything. Thanks for watching us. My name is Jacob Milton. Wanna curse me? Sure. Pick up your phone. You can call my number and curse me. I'll take it. But again, I'll ask you to make the right decision. Thanks for watching us.